You have a goal right now. Maybe it's success, maybe it's peace, maybe it's becoming someone better than who you are today. And that goal is killing you. Not metaphorically, literally draining your life force with every moment you chase it. The Zen masters knew something that modern self-help gurus will never tell you. The harder you grasp for what you want, the faster it slips through your fingers. Lao Tzu wrote, "The Tao does nothing, yet nothing is left undone." Miyamoto Musashi fought 60 duels and never lost, not because he wanted to win, but because he stopped caring about winning. Buddhist monks achieve enlightenment, not by seeking it, but by abandoning the search. This is the paradox that destroys achievers and liberates masters. The moment you need the goal, you've already lost it. The question isn't whether you have ambition. The question is, are you ready to discover what happens when you let it go? Chapter 1. The Warrior Who Wanted Everything. Edo, Japan. 1648. Takeshi was 23 when he wrote down his life plan. 10 precise goals, each with timelines, each with measurable milestones. By 25, master 3 sword styles. By 30, defeat the regional champion. By 35, open his own dojo. By 40, be recognized as one of the great swordsmen of the era. He kept the scroll in his quarters, read it every morning, revised it constantly. His training was flawless, his discipline absolute, his commitment unquestionable. And he was miserable. Every small victory felt hollow. Every achievement immediately became insufficient. The moment he crossed one goal off his list, 3 more appeared. 5 years in, Takeshi had achieved most of his targets ahead of schedule. 4 sword styles mastered, regional tournaments won, reputation growing, and the emptiness was growing faster. One evening, after defeating 3 senior students in succession, Takeshi sat alone in the dojo courtyard, staring at his goal scroll. He should have felt proud. Everything was going according to plan. Instead, he felt nothing. Just the immediate pressure of what came next. His master, Yamamoto Sensei, found him there. "You fought well today." "Not well enough. Kenji almost caught me with that reverse strike. I need to..." "Takeshi, I'm sending you to Mount Koya, a Zen temple, a monk named Hakuin. 6 months. "But master, my training, my goals, I can't afford to lose 6 months." "You can't afford not to." Yamamoto sat beside him. "You've improved tremendously. Your technique is exceptional, but you're dying inside. Every goal you set is a statement that who you are right now isn't enough. You're on a treadmill, calling it progress." The words landed like a physical blow. What will this monk teach me? How to want nothing, how to be nothing. And in that nothing, you might discover what you've been chasing all along. 3 days later, Takeshi climbed the mountain to Kozanji Temple, his goal scroll still in his bag, his mind racing with resistance. He had no idea that everything he believed about success was about to be destroyed. Chapter 2. Wu Wei, the action of non-action. The temple was quieter than any place Takeshi had ever been. Not silent. He could hear wind, birds, distant water, but there was no human striving, no urgency. It made him deeply uncomfortable. Master Hakuin greeted him with a bow. The old monk's eyes were clear, almost amused. "You're the one Yamamoto sent, the boy who wants to become great." "Yes, master. I've set goals to... I don't care about your goals. Sit. They sat in the temple garden, raked gravel, a few carefully placed stones, nothing more. Hakuin poured tea with complete attention. No hurry, no distraction. Each movement deliberate but effortless. Tell me, why do you want to be a great swordsman? Takeshi had prepared for this question. To master myself, to achieve excellence, to leave a legacy. No. Why do you want it? Because being great means I've succeeded. And if you're not great, then I've failed. Hakuin nodded. So your peace depends on an outcome you cannot fully control. Your worth is determined by a future that hasn't happened yet. And until that future arrives, you cannot rest. That's not ambition. That's suffering. He set down his tea. Let me tell you about Wu Wei. The Taoists call it effortless action, but translation misses the essence. Wu Wei doesn't mean doing nothing. It means acting without the disease of needing a result. He gestured to the garden. Look at that stone. Does it try to be a stone? Does it set goals to become a better stone? No, but stones aren't conscious. Exactly. And that's why they're perfect. They simply are what they are. No grasping, no becoming, just being. Takeshi frowned. But humans have potential. We can improve. Shouldn't we strive to become our best selves? Ah, the best self, the greatest trap of all. When you're chasing your best self, where does that leave your current self? Inadequate, not good enough, yet. Yes, so every moment of your life becomes a rejection of what is, in favor of what should be. You're never here. You're always there. In an imagined future where you'll finally be acceptable. The monk stood. The Zen masters laugh at goals, not because achievement is wrong, but because the attachment to achievement is poison. When you need to win, you create tension. Tension creates resistance. Resistance creates failure. When you don't need to win, you relax. Relaxation creates flow. Flow creates excellence. This is the paradox. The moment you stop grasping for the goal, you become capable of achieving it. Takeshi's mind was spinning. But if I stop caring about becoming great, won't I just become mediocre? Only if your current action requires the motivation of a future reward. Only if you can't find value in this moment, this practice, this single breath, without it leading anywhere. Musashi didn't win 60 duels because he wanted to win. He won because in each duel, he was completely present. No thought of victory, no fear of defeat, just pure response to what is. The moment you want to win, you've created two opponents, your external enemy and your internal need. The internal enemy always strikes first. Chapter 3, 30 Days Without Goals. For the next month, Hakuin announced the next morning, you will have no goals. Takeshi almost laughed. Master, that's impossible. I need structure, I need targets. Exactly. That's your addiction. And like all addictions, you'll need to withdraw. Whatever is in front of you, do it completely, without it needing to lead anywhere. The first week was torture. Takeshi would wake up, and his mind would immediately plan. What should I achieve today? How can I improve? Hakuin would find him. What are you doing? Planning my training. No, you're escaping the present moment. Stop planning, just sit. So Takeshi would sit, and within minutes his mind would rebel. This is wasted time. I should be training. I'm falling behind. You're thinking about goals again. Hakuin would observe. The daily routine was simple. Morning, zazen meditation, just sitting. No goal of enlightenment. Midday, work meditation, chopping wood, hauling water. Tasks with no glory. Evening, tea ceremony, slow, deliberate. Finding perfection in the simple act. No sword training, no practice, no improvement. Takeshi felt like he was dying. Week 2 brought the first crack. During meditation, his mind created its usual storm. I'm wasting time. I'm getting worse. And then, for perhaps 5 seconds, the storm stopped. Not because he forced it. It just stopped. In that gap, he experienced something he'd never felt. Contentment with what is. Not happiness about the future. Just okayness with right now. The moment he noticed it, it vanished. His mind grabbed. That's it. I need to achieve that state. Gone. That evening, he told Hakuin. The master nodded. You tasted Wu Wei. For 5 seconds, you existed without needing anything to be different. Then your goal mind tried to turn that experience into a target. The moment you try to get it, you've lost it. It arises when you stop trying. Week 3, Takeshi stopped fighting. He still had goals. They still arose. But he began to notice them as thoughts, not truths. I should be training would arise. He'd observe it, label it, goal thought. Return to chopping wood. The thoughts didn't stop, but they lost their control. By week 4, something shifted. Takeshi was pouring tea, a task he'd done 100 times, always impatient to finish. But this time, he was just pouring tea. No thought of what came next. No judgment of whether he was doing it well. Just water, cup, movement, complete. And in that completeness, he felt more alive than he'd felt in years. That night, Takeshi took out his goal scroll, the one that had defined his entire adult life. He read it, and instead of motivation, he felt sadness. Every goal was a rejection of now. Every target was a statement that he wasn't enough yet. Every milestone was a postponement of peace. He'd spent 5 years chasing a future that, even when it arrived, immediately became insufficient. If you're beginning to see how attachment to goals might be preventing you from achieving them, walk this path with us. This is the liberation that happens when you stop running toward yourself and simply arrive. Chapter 4. The Science of Attachment. Month 2 began with a teaching session. Today, Hakuin began, I'll explain why goals create suffering. Your brain has a mechanism called the hedonic treadmill, a term psychology won't discover for another 300 years. But you know the experience. Every time you achieve something, your baseline happiness returns to its previous level. The promotion, the victory. They give you a temporary spike, then you return to normal. And normal now feels like failure. So you set a new goal, chase a new high. Achieve it, return to baseline, set another goal. This is why achievers are often the most miserable people. Takeshi felt this in his bones. Every tournament he'd won had felt good for maybe a day. Then, what's next? The Buddhists understood this. They called it Tanha, the thirst that creates suffering. Not desire for things, but the addiction to wanting itself. You think you want success. You don't. You want the feeling you imagine success will give you, but that feeling can't come from achievement, because achievement is always about the future, and feelings exist only now. He paused. Lao Tzu wrote, "In the pursuit of learning, every day something is acquired. In the pursuit of Tao, Every day something is dropped. The Western mind adds, accumulates, achieves, becomes. The Eastern mind subtracts, releases, lets go. Neither is wrong. But the path of addition has no end. The path of subtraction ends when you've let go of everything. And what remains is what you've always been beneath the striving. A student raised his hand. Master, don't we need goals to function? Excellent question. I'm not saying goals are useless. I'm saying attachment to goals is poison. You can have a direction without needing to arrive. You can work towards something without your peace depending on it. You can prefer an outcome without suffering when it doesn't occur. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. You prefer to win, but you're indifferent to whether you do. Musashi preferred to win his duels, but he didn't need to. That non-need created a relaxation that made him unbeatable. Hakuin sat in Seiza. Here's the mechanism. When you need a goal, you create resistance to the present. That resistance is tension. Tension makes you less effective. You force, you push, you override natural intelligence with anxious striving. When you release the need, the tension dissolves. What remains is pure action, effortless, appropriate, flowing from awareness rather than from fear. This is Wu Wei, not the absence of action, the absence of resistance within action. And that absence creates a power that force can never access. That night, Takeshi meditated on a question Hakuin had given him. If you knew you'd never achieve your goals, would you still do what you're doing? The honest answer was, probably not, which meant he didn't actually love training. He loved the idea of what training would make him. He didn't love the path. He loved the imagined destination. That realization broke something open in him. Chapter 5, The Duel Without Attachment. Month 3. Tomorrow, a Ronin will arrive to challenge the temple. Takeshi, you will face him. Takeshi felt the old pattern activate. Anxiety, preparation mode. Then he caught himself. This is goal mind, grasping for outcome. He breathed, returned to now. Let the anxiety be there without obeying it. That night, he didn't prepare, didn't visualize, didn't strategize. He just sat, watched the thoughts. What if I lose? Each time he labeled them future fear, outcome attachment. The next morning, the Ronin arrived. Katsuro, bigger, more experienced, brutal reputation. Old Takeshi would have been drowning in strategy. New Takeshi just stood there, present, aware. No need for any particular result. They bowed, assumed kamae. Takeshi had no thought of winning, no fear of losing, no investment in looking good. Just Katsuro exists. Movement happens. Response arises. His mind was utterly quiet. Katsuro attacked, fast, aggressive, designed to overwhelm. Takeshi's body moved, not from technique stored in memory, from pure awareness. Sidestep, deflect, counter. No thought between stimulus and response. 3 minutes in, Katsuro looked surprised. Most opponents had fear. Takeshi's eyes showed nothing, just presence. They engaged. Katsuro tried everything, feints, combinations, raw power. Takeshi responded to everything, not fighting, just responding, like water around stone. Then Katsuro made the mistake, overcommitted, left his center exposed. Takeshi's bokken touched his throat. Victory. But Takeshi felt nothing. No triumph, no pride. Just the duel happened. It's over now. Katsuro lowered his sword, bowed deeply. You weren't trying to win? No. But you won anyway. Yes. Teach me. After the duel, Hakuin approached. Tell me what you learned. When I stopped needing to win, I stopped creating the conditions for losing. The wanting creates tension. Tension creates hesitation. Hesitation creates defeat. When there's no want, there's no tension. Just pure response. And pure response is faster than any strategy. Yes, this is what the masters know. Musashi was undefeated not because he was most skilled, though he was highly skilled, but because he had nothing to prove, no ego to protect, no reputation to defend. He fought from emptiness, and emptiness cannot be defeated because there's nothing there to attack. Takeshi bowed. For the first time in his life, he'd experienced action without attachment to outcome. Chapter 6. The Mountain of Letting Go. Hakuin sent Takeshi to a hermitage higher on Mount Koya for 3 months. You've learned to act without attachment in controlled situations. Now learn to live without attachment. No teacher, no structure. Just you and the question, who am I when I'm not trying to become someone? The hermitage was a single room, meditation cushion, sleeping mat, nothing more. The first week, Takeshi's mind created emergency. What should I be doing? How should I structure my day? There was no goal. That was the point. So he sat, watched his mind try desperately to create purpose. Week 2 brought deeper confrontation. Without goals, without achievement, without becoming, who was he? His entire identity had been built on striving. Takeshi, who wants to be great. But if he wasn't working toward anything, who was he? The question created existential vertigo. His mind had no answer, no story, no identity. Just awareness, breathing, present, nobody. It was terrifying. Then, slowly, it became peaceful. Week 4. An insight. Goals are just thoughts about imagined futures. They have no reality beyond the mental energy he gives them. He'd spent his entire adult life suffering over things that existed only as electrical patterns in his brain, chasing phantoms, rejecting the present in favor of mental projections that were never satisfied. Week 6 brought the deepest release. A thought arose. What if I never become a great swordsman? Old Takeshi would have panicked. New Takeshi just observed it. Interesting. Fear of not achieving imagined future. And beneath that, so what? So what if he never became great? Would that change this breath, this moment? No. The goal had no power over the present moment. Only his belief in the goal had power. And that was just a thought. He laughed. Out loud, alone in the hermitage. The whole thing was absurd. He'd tortured himself for years over mental constructs that had no reality. Month 3, he stopped meditating. Not because he gave up, because the distinction between meditation and not meditation dissolved. Sitting was just sitting. Walking was just walking. No special state to achieve. No practice to perfect. Just whatever was happening, fully experienced. When Hakuin came to retrieve him, he found Takeshi sitting in the garden, watching clouds. Are you ready to return? I don't know. Does it matter? Hakuin smiled. You've arrived, not at a destination. You've arrived at the understanding that there's nowhere to go. Chapter 7. When everything is at stake. Takeshi returned to Edo after 9 months. Yamamoto Sensei greeted him with unusual seriousness. "There's a situation. Akiro, the champion you plan to defeat by age 30, has issued a public challenge to this dojo. I'm too old. I'm assigning you." Old Takeshi would have seen this as the ultimate goal, the defining moment. New Takeshi just nodded. When? 3 days. Those 3 days, Takeshi didn't prepare in the old way. No strategy, no mental rehearsal. He just trained, completely. Not to get better, just because training was what was happening. The day arrived. Akiro was waiting. Massive crowd, students from both dojos, officials. This was a big moment for everyone except Takeshi. He bowed, drew his bokken, stood in kamae. His mind was empty. No thought of winning, no fear of losing, no concern for reputation. Just man with sword, movement, response. Akiro attacked like a storm, fast, powerful, technically brilliant. Takeshi met him from stillness. No forcing, no trying, just complete presence. 5 minutes in, Akiro was breathing hard, frustrated. This quiet opponent gave him nothing to push against. 7 minutes, Akiro made his first real mistake. Overextended, seeking the decisive blow. Takeshi responded appropriately. A simple counter, clean, effortless. His bokken touched Akiro's ribs. Victory. The crowd erupted, but Takeshi felt exactly what he'd felt during the duel. Nothing special. Just the end of an event. Akiro stood there, shocked. "How? I'm faster, stronger, more experienced." "Yes." "So how did you win?" "I didn't try to. You needed to win. That need created pressure. Pressure created mistakes. I had no need, so I had no pressure. I just responded to what you gave me." Akiro stared. "Teach me that." 10 years later, Takeshi ran his own dojo now, not because he'd worked toward it as a goal. It just happened, naturally. A young student approached, eager, ambitious, full of goals. "Master, I want to be the greatest swordsman in Japan. I'll work harder than anyone. Tell me, how long until I achieve this?" Takeshi looked at the young man, saw himself at 23. Then he laughed. A deep, genuine laugh. The student looked offended. "Why do you laugh at my dedication?" "Because you just told me you'll fail. The moment you grasp for greatness, you guarantee you'll never hold it." "I don't understand." "You will, eventually. But first, you must suffer through the same delusion I did." Takeshi stood. "You think your goal motivates you. It doesn't. It tortures you. Every goal is a rejection of now. A statement that you're not enough yet. A postponement of peace until some imagined future that never quite arrives. And even when you achieve a goal, what happens? You feel good for a day, maybe a week. Then the feeling fades, and you're back where you started. Except now you need a bigger goal. This is the hedonic treadmill. The more you achieve, the more you need to achieve to feel the same temporary satisfaction. It's not a path to fulfillment. It's an addiction. Takeshi sat in Seiza. The student followed. Lao Tzu wrote, "In the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is acquired. In the pursuit of the Tao, every day something is dropped." Your path, the path of goals and achievement, is the path of addition. Always acquiring, always becoming, always more. There's another path, the path of subtraction, letting go, being, enough. Neither is wrong. But the path of addition has no end. There's always another mountain. The path of subtraction ends when you've let go of everything. And what remains is what you've always been, underneath the striving. The student listened, resistant but curious. Master, are you saying I should have no goals? No. I'm saying your peace should not depend on them. Set goals if you want. Work toward them if it pleases you. But don't need them. Don't let your worth depend on achieving them. Act as if the goal is already irrelevant. Train because you love training, not because training will make you someone worthy. This is Wu Wei. Effortless action. Action without the disease of attachment. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing the goal, you become far more likely to achieve it, because you're no longer creating resistance, no longer forcing, no longer fighting yourself. The student looked confused. But if I don't care about winning, won't I just lose? Only if your action requires the motivation of a future reward. Only if you can't find value in this moment, this single sword stroke, this single breath, without it leading somewhere. Musashi won 60 duels, not because he wanted to win, but because he was completely present. The masters you admire didn't become masters by chasing mastery. They became masters by forgetting about mastery and falling in love with practice itself. Takeshi stood, walked to the sword rack, selected a bokken. The Zen masters laugh at your goals because they know the harder you chase what you want, the more you prove you don't have it. And that lack creates the very tension that prevents you from getting it. But when you release the chase, when you stop grasping, when you simply exist as you are and act from that existence without needing it to lead anywhere, that's when everything you wanted becomes possible. Not because you've found a new strategy, but because you've stopped being at war with yourself. He handed the bokken to the student. I can't teach you this. You have to suffer through your own attachment first. Chase your goals, achieve them. Discover that achievement doesn't create the lasting satisfaction you imagined. Suffer through that disappointment, again and again. And maybe, if you're fortunate, you'll get tired of suffering. You'll ask, is there another way? And that's when the real path begins. Not the path to somewhere, the path to here, which is the only place you've ever been. The student bowed, not fully understanding, but sensing something important. What should I do now, Master? Takeshi smiled. Whatever is in front of you, completely, without it needing to lead anywhere. As the student left, Takeshi returned to the meditation hall. He sat, not to achieve anything, not to become anyone, just sitting, complete in itself. No goal, no striving, no becoming, just being, here, now, enough. And in that enoughness, a freedom that no achievement could ever provide. The Zen masters laugh not because they're mocking your ambition. They laugh because they see the beautiful absurdity. You're searching for something you already have. Running toward a destination where you already stand. Trying to become who you already are. The moment you stop trying, you arrive. Not at a new place. You arrive at the understanding that you never left. This is the paradox. This is the path. This is the truth that destroys achievers and liberates masters. The goal isn't the destination. The goal is the obstacle preventing you from seeing that you've already arrived. Walk this path, not to get somewhere, but to discover you're already there. Because you are. You always have been. You just forgot while you were busy chasing. Stop chasing. And remember,